Allow me at this moment to introduce the moderator of this session, where the governor as well will be part and parcel of the panel. And I want to call upon Faith Macharia, partner at ALN, right here, to kindly come, and she will also introduce her panelists who are going to join her in this particular session of matters to do with exploring opportunities for community engagement in integrated waste management. Please, let's appreciate her as well as she comes.
Thank you so much. His Excellency the Governor for Vihiga County, the representative for PS Devolution, government officials represented here, members of the private sector, the civil society, the speakers, participants, colleagues, good afternoon. Again, welcome to this session. My name is Faith Macharia. I'm a partner at ALN here, and it's a pleasure for us to be hosting this discussion in our building, and it's also a privilege. It's also a great privilege for me to be moderating this session. So allow me to introduce our distinguished panel of speakers in this session. We will start with His Excellency, the Governor for Vihiga County and the Chair of the Council of Governors for Environment and Climate Change Committee, which is constituted to consider all matters relating to sustainable water management, mining, climate change, environmental management, and conservation. So Dr. Utichilo has been key in development of the climate change carbon market regulations 2024 in Kenya. He has commissioned various water projects in Vihiga County, and he has also seen the development of the climate change resilience investment projects in Vihiga County. And also he served in the past as the Director General for Regional Center for Mapping of Resources for Development, which is an agency of the United Nations Economic Commission. Please appreciate my first distinguished speaker. So the second speaker will have been the Director General for NEMA, Mr. Mamo Borumema. We've all heard him speak this morning, but he has had to step out to attend to urgent business. He didn't indicate the possibility of having a replacement from NEMA, so I'm not sure whether the person replacing him is in the room. He or she, if she is, she can be at liberty to step on the floor. If not, we'll just proceed with the remaining speaker. So our third speaker is Mr. Henry Ochieng, the CEO, Kenya Alliance of Residents Association. Mr. Ochieng, if you can kindly join us on set, we'll appreciate. So he's the CEO of the Kenya Alliance of Residents Association, which is an apex body representing the voice and proactive action of resident associations in Kenya on access to better services at the neighborhood, county, and national level. He has over 15 years of experience in the civil society, and he has developed and implemented effective strategies for organizing, development, resource mobilization, urban development, training and capacity building, and public policy advocates. Karibu sana, Mr. Ochieng. The last but not the least, we have Ms. Mary Ngesho. Please join me on stage. Ms. Mary, appreciate her as she comes up. She's a social entrepreneur, a woman in manufacturing, environmental ambassador, and mentor. She's a trailblazer in plastic industry and its interaction with the circular economy, acting as the managing director of Line Plus Group of Companies, the chair of Kenya Association of Manufacturers, Women in Manufacturing, the chair of the SME Club at the Kenya Private Sector Association, and a member of the board of directors of the East Africa Business Council. Please, again with a round of applause, help me appreciate my distinguished speakers as they settle in. Now, we in this session will be exploring opportunities for community engagement in integrated waste. And to start off a discussion, I would like to ask all my panelists. Now, yes, we have microphones. Carlotta, if you can help us, thank you so much. to share their thoughts. You are exploring this topic on opportunities for community engagement in integrated waste management. So I want us just to take a few minutes, each one of us, to share their thoughts on what we think or what we see as the most practical, critical challenges and opportunities in empowering communities to take a more active role in waste management. We can start with you, Mheshimiwa.
Thank you for this opportunity. I would like to say that there are a lot of opportunities that are available now for the communities to participate in sustainable waste management. And to me, the key is creating awareness and building capacity, because that's an area where we have not done well. And the second is to organize the communities in a manner that they can appreciate that waste is not waste literally, but is wealth. And we should be able to demonstrate to them that, yes, indeed, if you deal with waste properly, you can make money. And we need, people like role models, like the team that was here from Dondora, from Nanyuki, to show that indeed waste has an opportunity to create wealth. So capacity building is very important, and awareness.
Governor Bistochi.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, so I think we've all agreed that one of the biggest challenge in this issue of waste management is the issue of public awareness, lack of public awareness and education. And of course, this has really impacted negatively, especially at the community level. So just like the governor said, we need to have a little bit more investment and focus on these issues of creating public awareness and making sure that people understand their roles and responsibility. I think earlier we had that it doesn't matter how many policies or laws you have in place, if we don't speak to the mind, if you don't speak to the behavior change, then most of what you're doing will not really lead to much. So you must be able to really focus on how are we going to change our mindsets so that we can be able to see waste as a resource. So the opportunity that we have in issues of community engagement, waste management, is that by and large, there's an increasing number of communities who are voluntarily organizing themselves into structures of vehicles that they can use to advocate for their issues, and that include the resident associations. If we have communities at the neighborhood level, like the resident associations, who are already organized and they're doing so voluntarily because they want to change their neighborhood and how they do things, then it is easier now to use that as a vehicle to be able to drive change through at the community level. And change comes through issues of training and capacity building, making sure that people take responsibility for their action, and making sure that people understand and make the connection between the action and the impact it has on environment. So that's an opportunity that we can be able to leverage on and make use of these structures, community structures, to drive change. I think another opportunity that we have is the presence of an enabling legislative environment. We have a constitution that talks elaborately about public participation, public involvement in decision making. And we also have the Sustainable Waste Management Act of 2022, which has made it very explicit that the communities must be part and parcel of the value chain. They must be able to take the responsibility of their waste. They must be able to be part and parcel of a circular model of waste management. And they must be at a point where they're actually contributing to the well-being of our environment. So with these legal frameworks in place, it is very possible to leverage on these frameworks to ensure that we are either doing compliance or enforcement, but most importantly, making sure that the people themselves understand what is expected of them, and they're actually the ones demanding even for the community themselves. You know, there's that thing of community policing. If we have communities who understand what the laws requires and what's expected of them, then even through their community leadership, they can be able to make sure that everybody is complying. So that if you're not doing what is expected of you, it is the community who will actually take action against you and tell you that you must do what is required, and you must all have a collective responsibility for our neighborhood. So those are some of the opportunities that I'm seeing as of now. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we've heard about public participation, public awareness, education, capacity building, having laws in place that need to be implemented, because I think that's actually where the issue is, Mr. Cheng, because we have very good in place. You've talked about the Constitution, you've talked about the Sustainable Waste Management Act 2023, but it's just the issue of implementation. So Mary, you're a trailblazer in this area that we're discussing about. Do you see other opportunities and challenges in this area? So if you can please share with us your thoughts. Thank you.
So thank you. Without repeating what's been said, because this is what we have said, I will give an example of what it is that we do at Takataka Nimali. When we go for capacity building, we try to localize it, because you can give capacity building that is not relatable to the people who you're training or the people who you want to pass the message, the same as the policy, regulations, and all that. So what is most important is, as we do the capacity, the approach that we take. You've seen example of the people who we work with from the different dump sites, and I think what they have really appreciated is that we go to where they are. They relate. When we take the message, they are part of it. The other thing that we do a lot is partnership and collaboration. It is one thing to educate and tell the waste pickers that there are opportunities in waste, but how do they actualize those opportunities? So we have a network of recyclers who are in our ecosystem, so we link them to the recyclers. The other thing that we have tried to do is, because we are trying to maximize the value in that waste value chain, we want them to earn an equivalent of what they are contributing. So we are trying to make sure that their effort in collecting is equally paid well. We do not want them to get peanuts in the value chain. We want the value to be shared across the whole value chain. Partnership and collaboration, making sure that we share the value and share the value in an equivalent way that is appreciated by the whole players in the value chain, and making sure that we can be able to localize that messaging for them. The other areas is in converting them into entrepreneurs. So they don't do these businesses like, today I'm collecting and I take it away. So when you organize them and you create them to be entrepreneurs, so they look that as a business, and then create opportunity for even scaling those entrepreneurs.
Thank you so much. So localizing the regulations, the laws, taking them to the ground in a manner that is relatable to the people, because I know we have different classifications of players in this waste management cycle. Thank you so much for sharing your insights on the opportunities and challenges. And what I also hear from you, Mary, you talked about collaboration, right? Turning the waste pickers into entrepreneurs, making them also be on the process. Now, so basically what you're saying is that the engagement of the community is crucial, but I think also you'll agree with me that to move from engagement to action, we also need innovation, Mary. So you've worked, creating partnerships between the technology industry and waste management stakeholders. Maybe can you also share with us how technology is accelerating the adoption of sustainable solutions, especially in third world countries in Africa?
So thank you. And imagine, let me picture it. Imagine that these waste pickers in Kenya, they're everywhere, and we have turned them into entrepreneurs. So they are small scale. They don't have capacity to be seen from a global perspective. So if you bring in technology like at Takataka Nimali, we have developed a digital platform. And what we are trying to do with the digital platform is to create visibility for them. So we help them to manage their data, whether it is how much it is that they are selling and how much they are collecting, so that they are able to communicate how much waste that they have. We have trained them to aggregate the waste as a resource. An example, and you see them saying that there's a new space where they have seen a new base that they are paying more. When you have more waste, logistically, for any recycler, it makes sense for them to come and collect that waste. And if it is well spotted, it then means that then they will get higher value. But how are you feasible to the people who want to buy this waste? So from a digital platform, then you can create visibility of them. If they want to scale, You would want to go to a bank and maybe explain how it is that you've been trading with your waste. Then you can be able to get your credit score because you can show the credibility, the payability, because it's continuity of what it is that you are putting on your digital platform. There are examples that we have just had systemic sharing, a project that they have globally that have been implemented in another area globally. It is through technology that we are able to showcase what is happening globally out there. So through also our digital platform, we are able to bring such models that are working there. We are able to showcase the and different example best practices out there, and the innovators down there are able to learn. We are able to create a pool of different innovations, sharing their examples and explaining how they have been able to do it, to encourage the others to know how they can be able to do that. We also give tools of work. An example I will say, these days there's a law that is required for you to access market, to access money. Example like in ESG reporting. So we give tools that would help that waste collector comply with some of those requirements to have access to financing.
Mary deserves a round of applause for the inspiring work they're doing with technology in this area. Mary, I know there's for example, in Ghana, I know they have a mobile app where they're using to link households to waste pickers. Is that something that we have in this region, or?
Currently, we do not have such an app, but
Okay.
we have developed one.
Yes.
The one that we are calling EcoLoop. We have one that we are launching that we are calling EcoMali. We intend to have that a household can be able to call for a waste picker to come. We are working in partnership with Kara, and we have gone to different estates and different homesteads that we are piloting this. And then also Kara, they have a digital platform. I know Henry will talk about that you can be able to report in initiatives or maybe bad waste management. So we want a household can call to collect waste, but we do not want to collect waste. We want to collect what is recoverable.
Yes.
Because there's value in it. So that money from it, our digital platform, we've partnered with Safaricom. We can be able to do your payment transaction through the digital platform. So that money that goes to the people who are selling or who are transacting the recoverable can help to develop the infrastructure that is required within the waste management system.
Wow, amazing and inspiring job that Takataka Nimali is doing with technology in this area. Now, turning to you, Henry, we're innovating. We've actually had that from Mary, and I'll also be happy to hear your point about technology that Mary has talked about. But while at it, we'll also appreciate that it is important that to ensure those who are the backbone of the system, the waste pickers, they're included, they're not excluded. And we have data in Kenya showing, waste pickers contribute to recycling about 30% of the waste generated in urban areas. But we'll also agree, all of us in this room, that their roles remains informal and under-recognized in this country. Henry, from your work with the Resident Association, how can communities and policymakers advocate for the rights of waste pickers to ensure, for example, maybe they are properly recognized by our legislation, they are properly compensation, and their rights are well catered for?
Thank you very much. I'll start from what communities can do to support the work of the waste pickers. And, many times when the waste pickers come to collect waste, they just find a bunch of waste thrown maybe outside waiting for collection without any proper indication of even segregation. So, like I said, we have a law that is now insisting on segregation at the household level. So one of the ways that communities can actually be part and parcel of supporting the work of waste pickers is to make sure that they are actively practicing segregation at the household level. And as Kara, we are trying now to drive this agenda, and we have a waste segregation estate model where we've identified a few estates that we are supporting to practice waste segregation. We are doing that in Nakuru, Mombasa, and Nairobi, and this is a pilot. Because what we're trying to demonstrate is how does the law look like on the ground? If you talk about waste segregation at the household level, what is it that a household require to be able to segregate waste in a manner that is making sense to the value chain? So the communities at the household level can actually make it easier for the waste collectors by segregating their waste so that when they come to collect the waste, they already understand what they are really interested in terms of what can create value for them, and they focus on that in terms of the collection. So that is one way of collaborating between the waste pickers, waste collectors, and the communities. I think for government, one of the things that they need to focus on is just creating that enabling policy environment that recognizes waste pickers. I think right now most of them, by and large, are still operating informally, and they're not properly recognized, even in law and by the authorities. So if we can be able to have progressive policies that appreciate that these people are part and parcel of the value chain and they're actually adding value, then that will now give them the impetus to be able to really operate in a more formal way, and even start engaging other stakeholders within the value chain in ways that can really add value to them. So we need the policies in place. We need to make sure that they are recognized. We need to organize them, even into cooperatives, for instance, so that even as a group, they can even access credit, they can even access loans to be able to upscale their work. And most importantly, Mary has talked about technology. We have to apply technology to make the work of waste collectors easier. She's elaborated, talked about what they're doing with the technology. Even at Kara level, we also look at how can we be able to apply technology to ensure that we are seamlessly managing the waste. And we have a Hatua platform, which is essentially designed and developed to ensure that the people within the waste management ecosystem can actually communicate on a real-time basis. So that, for instance, if there's a waste in a particular neighborhood that is not being attended to, then you have a platform through which you can feed that, and then the people who are supposed to take action within the government circles can actually be able to take action on a real-time basis. This can also go a long way in incorporating the waste pickers so that as they go about their businesses, they're able to have real-time sight of what exactly is happening with waste in communities at the neighborhood level, and they can even be called, just like Mary said, that to come and collect waste and of course make use of it in through the processes. So I think having technology, having the right policies in place, and empowering communities to segregate waste for the waste collectors will go a long way in making sure that we're supporting the waste collectors.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, talking about the Hatua, you talked about the Hatua platform. Who are the intended users of this platform?
This platform is created for waste generators at the household level, and of course connecting them to the government. And the government in this case, I mean the county government, who are responsible for waste management. And now bringing on board other actors who can also be able to, who are interested on issues of waste management. But primarily what we are doing in this platform, and the intention was to make sure that the people at the community level are able to engage with the county government directly on how they want to manage their waste. What that means is that because a number of times you wake up and because of this behavior that was talked about earlier, where people think that waste is to be thrown everywhere and littering everywhere, you wake up and you find that right in front of your door, somebody has come and dumped waste there, and there's nobody who's taking responsibility for it. So through this platform, you are able to put that information, and the people who are on the back end, which is mainly now the county government and also the Kara team, can be able to see where the problem is with the exact location where the waste has been dumped, and then action can be taken. The beauty is that it has been put in such a way that it gives a very specific timeline on how action can be taken. If, for instance, the sub-county officer has not taken action within 24 hours, then this is escalated to the boss, maybe to the county director, and then all the way to the governor level, so that you can be sure that within 2 or 3 days, somebody must have taken action if it is reported. So that's essentially what the platform is seeking to achieve.
Thank you so much. Mheshimiwa, coming to you, you'll tell us whether the Vihiga County has taken up Hatua platform. But just before then, you've talked about the need for regulations in this country, recognizing the waste pickers. And maybe we can just take an example of Brazil, Brazil and Colombia. I know they have specific regulations that actually recognize the rights and the role of the West speakers. And I think in Colombia, they actually passed this legislation 2013, that is over a decade ago. But we also know at the international level, for the first time, the role of the West speakers was recognized by UNEP, I think in 2023, through a resolution, a bit. So maybe this is a question and a food for thought for our audience, and we can discuss that, and I'll be happy to hear your views on the Q&A session. Do you think we need a specific legislation in Kenya to cater for the rights, to recognize the West speakers? Or do you think the general laws that we have, the Constitution, the Labor Acts, general, do you think they cover this, or is it something that we should be taking as an action point out of this discussion? Now, coming to you, Mheshimiwa, let me just first by disclosing, right, that Vihiga County is my second home. In fact, it's actually my home. Yeah. I'm actually married there. And culture, that is actually my home.
Yes.
And I've been very interested and following closely at what has been happening in Vihiga. So maybe you can tell us, what role do you see the local government, for example, the role that Vihiga County can play, and obviously as the chairperson for the Council of Governors in Kenya, in formalizing this relationship to ensure, efficiency and mutual benefit in this scenario. Please go ahead.
Thank you for that question. I want to agree with my colleagues here for what they have said. As a government, what we require is to give an enabling environment for the private sector to thrive. Because as I said earlier, we believe that the private sector are the movers in this sector. And if we give them an enabling environment, they'll be able to do it. As a Council of Governors, we have had a benchmarking meeting, a visit to Ghana. I think it was in May when we went to see what Ghana is doing, and we are real impressed by how they are dealing with the issue of the West speakers, because they have been recognized, they have been registered, and their operations and how they allocated areas for the operations is well mapped. So as Ochenga said, everything is well mapped. You can monitor from the governor to the person on the ground, the ward administrator can know what is going on. So for me, I believe that yes, we have the standard national legislation and policy on waste management, but we need to take it lower at the county level, where we can make now regulations that will be, it will work with the people on the ground, because different communities will have different approaches to waste management. So we would like to come up, and we are encouraging this at the Council of Governors, that at the county level, the counties can come up with the regulations, but they must ensure that they don't violate the parent law or the national law. So I want to agree that the best way is to formalize this process and create a market. The biggest problem we have at the local level is that our local people don't know that this waste has value in terms of where is the market. So it is the work of the private sector and even the government to be able to provide information, and already through technology, this information is already all over. You can get it. So I think the technology is now helping the participants or the people who are interested in this area to find an opportunity very easily. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So passing regulations at the county level, obviously ensuring that they align with the regulations at the national level. And I think that to some extent speaks to what Mary was saying, localizing the regulations, make it relatable to the people, on the ground. Now, Henry, if I may just come back to you, right? So we are taking these regulations from the national level to the county government level, and Mary Takataka Nimali, they are taking it even to the Mwananchi level, localizing it, making it in a way that speaks to them. So how can we ensure that West Pickers, most of them at a very mashinani, if I may use that word, or ground as it was used, and who often work in precarious conditions. We've seen the state in Dandora, for example, and so that in whatever they're doing, they receive their fair share of benefits in this expanded system that you're talking about. How do we make sure they receive their fair share of benefits?
I think one of the ways of people advocating for what is fairly rightfully theirs is to make sure that they are very well organized in structures that can then be able to speak for them. And for West speakers, one of the things that we could be able to see is how to support them to be able to form cooperatives that can then speak for them, or entities, or whatever you want to call it, but just a structure that can then be able to advocate for their rights and also make sure that they're achieving what belongs to them. But I think most importantly is that I spoke about the entire value chain and the place of the West speakers. I don't think they've been properly recognized and entrenched in the entire value chain of waste management. And so it is the responsibility of various stakeholders, whether it is government, the private sector, the civil society, to first of all appreciate the work or the role of this particular group of people. But then most importantly, to make sure that as we talk about who is doing what at what level of waste management, then we clearly entrench their role and see how we can be able to look at the welfare of these people, whether it is the working condition within which they're working, whether it is fair compensation of their work, because a number of times I think they have the short end of the stick, because even if they've been able to collect the waste or segregate them, the bargaining power they have, because they're working independently, is not as strong as it should be. So the off-takers maybe could take advantage of them and maybe give them what is not rightfully commensurate with the work that they do. So we have to make them part and parcel of that chain and ensure that they are able to really be given what is due to them. I'm sure there's a place for technology in all this, and even what Mary was talking about, going beyond just using technology to maybe generate data and support issues of reporting and all that, but even using technology to enable what I could call the bargaining between now the waste pickers and the people who are interested in taking up the waste that they've segregated and all that. So we can use technology to ensure that we are having fair treatment to this group of people and promoting their welfare and their well-being. But most importantly, we just need to have, like I said earlier, laws and policies that expressly recognize this group of people, expressly give them their rights, and expressly indicate how they're supposed to be treated, so that it is in black and white and is not a guesswork kind of game. Thank you.
And I totally agree with you, because this is actually one group, yet an important group in the waste management cycle. They don't even have minimum wage. We know that, right? We know we have cases of, children abuse, because we have waste pickers who are actually children. Their rights are not observed. Perhaps maybe at the end of it, I want to hear from my sister and brothers from, Karatina, was it Nyeri, Dandora? What do they think? Maybe perhaps having even a union, because we talked about them not having the voices. There's no one who is speaking for them, and we know most of the labor markets, most of them actually enjoy the benefits of having a union that then speaks and advocates for their rights, especially labor rights. So maybe that will be a good thought to hear from the audience as well. Now, during Mr. Mamo's speech, he spoke about this waste management efforts being owned by the people, the community, being managed by the community. So his emphasis was actually on the community role in the waste management process. So back to you, Mheshimiwa. Now, from your experience in Vihiga County, I know you have a number of initiatives back home in Vihiga County. How can we ensure that community-based solutions, they are scalable and can be replicated in other counties and other regions, in this Kenya or other countries in this Kenya? And what role do you see counties play in this process?
The counties, we are just facilitators and enablers. And as has been rightly said, we need to put the proper legislation and regulations that are in tune with the communities. Actually, most of the regulations should emanate from the communities because they are functioning as an entity. And therefore, as a county, what we are trying to do is to build the capacity of the communities to recognize the importance of waste management and how they should be able to manage the waste for their own benefit and for the benefit of the society. So that is our main concern. And what we have seen that where we have communities embracing the concept of waste management as a resource, then you see interest. We have seen like in agribusiness,
Yes.
now the youth are now are very keen to collect organic waste materials from markets like Luanda, from Bale, and all other. And they are able now to use that waste for various activities like those who are dealing with the rearing of soldier fly, for creating, feeds for fish, feeds for chicken. So we are seeing interest. And now even at the marketplace, you are seeing where now the people selling, let's say, vegetables are now realizing that whatever waste they have been throwing is a resource. And there are now people who are picking and using it. So they are now forming groups where you find that all these waste now they are forming into groups, and now they can bargain and sell it as a group. So what we want to encourage is to have groups or circles for various value chains in terms of waste, so that they can be able to manage, and control markets and find markets, and be able to ensure that they get value of what they have.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I mean, the role of the county government is that of facilitating regulations, and regulations coming from the ground. And I think that is where the role of public participation and public awareness, as Mr. Cheng and Mary mentioned it. Now, I mean, we've talked about so many efforts, being done by different level, different players, and just to you, Mary, I think, in my view, to sustain these efforts and maybe just to drive them even further, we also need to leverage technology, right? So, Mary, if we just to speak about, technological advancement, that you think maybe the government at the county level, at the national level, and perhaps the policymakers should focus on to support sustainable waste management, please, in maybe 2 minutes.
So thank you. We've talked about technology from a digital technology.
Yes.
But there's also technology in terms of machineries that are required to sort separate the whole infrastructure. From where I sit, I think with the collaboration between the county government, the national government effort, and the public and the private sector, we are able to come up with different technologies to create the infrastructure that is suitable to manage the waste in a sustainable way. And you heard the Deputy Ambassador for the Deputy British High Commissioner talk about a model that we are doing in Kisii. It's a model that is supported by the British government. What we've done is to bring in a whole system that sort and separate waste. We are creating what now the law is calling the material recovery facility. Because to do the extended producer responsibility, you're not supposed to dispose your waste, you're supposed to recover it. So in partnership with the local government, with the national government, and the private sector. Then we're able to create the infrastructure. Then the use of digital technology, we are able to trace that. So there's compliance, you can report for compliance, and you can also be able to have enough data that can help in scaling. You're also able to bring in other revenue streams through data compensation. Today in the afternoon, we are talking about plastic credits. We are talking about carbon credits. The only way that you can be able to leverage on such revenue streams is if you've been able to use a technology that creates traceability of the whole value chain.
Thank you so much, Mary. So we are coming to the end of this session. We have 2 minutes, and I think we've covered a lot of ground in this session, from community engagement to regulation to technology and inclusivity. Mary, I remember in your opening speech, you talked about, this session being a practical session as opposed to a theoretical question. So maybe as a wrap up within the 1 minute that we have, can each of you please just share one key action point that we can take away to build a more sustainable and scalable waste management systems? Perhaps I can start with you, Mheshimiwa.
Well, I would like to say that waste management requires the participation of everybody. And I'm happy that the industry, which has been the key culprit in pollution, has taken this matter very seriously. I heard the speaker from Unilever this morning, and I think made a very strong point on what they are doing. So my position as the Council of Governors is that we work together, the public and the private sector and the community. We must all work together to deal with the issue of waste management.
Jen?
I can't agree more. All the stakeholders need to be on the same page, but I think that we must have a community-led approach to waste management, because all waste is generated by communities, by individuals, and if we make everybody take the responsibility of the waste that they generate or they're responsible for, then definitely we'll be able to be at a point where we appreciate the need and the importance of in managing our waste better. So we have to demonstrate value on waste. We have to let the community lead the agenda and make them really appreciate that at the end of the day, if they don't take responsibility for their waste, then it's going to have an impact on their health and even on the environment. So it has to be community-led. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
So thank you. I think for me is as much as we have said that waste is wealth. We need to look at wealth not from just money, but knowing that we are reserving the environment for future generation. So we make our money today to run our activities, but waste management, we have to take it passionately, knowing that we are reserving the future for our next generation. So in the little ways that we do, training our children, our neighborhood, so that we take care of the waste, whether we are paid or we are not paid, because it is collective effort that will help us to save our environment, to save ourselves from climate change, and we reserve our future, our nation and our world for the next generation.
Thank you so much. I think we've run out of time. Please help me appreciate my panelists again. Thank you so much, Mheshimiwa. Thank you so much, Mr. Chieng. Thank you so much for Mary for sharing your insights. We'll have had a Q&A answer, but now I'm at the mercies of the moderator. And I also realize that we are standing, sitting in between you and your lunch or your break. Thank you so much.
Just before they leave, I think I have a lot of power here. You're under my mercies. Now, there's one quick question here. I want to read it, and then, moderator, you can just tell me who can answer it very quickly, just borrowing 2 minutes of your time. Informal waste collectors are mainly interested in recyclables, obviously. Question: how do we make sure that organic waste is also separately collected? Will business case be enough? That's the question. I hope it made sense. Yes. So who's going to answer that? Marian Oching. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've talked about the recyclables, but we have also talked about different efforts that are coming up within the organic waste. So a lot of skills and modeling and showing people what they can do with the organic waste and what value you can get from that. There are models like the black soil. We've talked about models like fertilizer and making it relatable, not expensive, so that it can be done from a community level. I think those are some of the models and the skills that can be done so that they see the value in the organic waste.
Excellent. I think, do you have something else that you wanted to
I
add?
agree with what she has said.
Yes. And Governor is taking the mic. Maybe he has also one more thing.
Yes, we are also, as a counties, we are encouraging our communities to go into compositing, making compost, manure, organic manure. So it's also picking up, and our agricultural extension officers are promoting this. Equally, we have now industries that are coming up to deal with manufacture of organic fertilizer. Like, for example, there's one factory being built in Kakamega to cover for the whole of Western Kenya in manufacture of organic fertilizer from organic waste.
Lovely. Thank you so much for that. So I think the powers now are with me. But Mary, you
I think also to say we have a whole section that is being done by the UN Trade and Development around organic waste. So
absolutely
tune in.
Yeah. So I think now I want us to take a picture, then we can go for lunch. So you don't mind, let's appreciate the panelists one more time, including the moderator. And also our online participants who have asked so many questions, but we have to be stewards of time. So kindly allow me to just end it at that. Photographer, are you ready? Excellent. I don't know whether Biofoods, had you come with something for the governor? Just checking. Just check. You know, he gave. It's okay. Okay, I understand. They said that yours will be sent by express courier. Excellent. So there you go. There you go. Yes, yes, yes. There you go. Is that good enough? Excellent. All right. 3, 2, go. Yes. Well, then just take one more. Just take one more. I want to be close to life, you know. Just 3, 1 to go. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to our panelists. You may have your seats. For the persons present, I know some people wanted to probably have a session or so. These guys are present. They are still around. Even as we're having lunch, feel free to talk with them. Ladies and gentlemen, I understand lunch is being served right straight out where we have the nice gazebo area out there. And we'll be back right here, especially for online participants. We should be back in the next hour. So by around 2:15, please log in because we shall start back. Thank you so much. Enjoy your lunch.